Honorable judges, imagine you are a member of a traditional family of six living in a modest house in Java. You and your ancestors have lived there for hundreds of years and nothing has happened. But then disaster strikes. A mudslide pours into your house, destroying everything you own and killing your grandmother. This description is a sad portrait of reality that people in disaster-prone areas live in. But what is the government's response? Two words: go away. Good morning. My name is Gazali Elyas Darmawan from SMA Islam Al-Azhar Satu, and in my speech, I would like to convince the jury of the proposition of the motion, which is, in areas prone to disasters, this House believes that the state should prioritize disaster mitigation over relocation. Now, let's get a few things straight. What is disaster mitigation, relocation, and why should the government prioritize one over the other? What is disaster mitigation? Disaster mitigation refers to the continuous long-term process of dealing with a natural disaster before it happens. It can include collecting data points on the stability and safety of a certain area. It can include infrastructure projects like seawalls or mangrove trees and building green areas. However, relocation refers to dealing with natural disasters after it happens. It only looks at certain factors, which is the people and another area. It does not look at the disaster-prone areas. Which leads me into my first argument for prioritizing disaster mitigation. First, relocation does not get to the root of the problem. Disaster mitigation does. Now, what is the root of the problem exactly? The root of the problem is that Indonesia itself as a country is situated in the ring of fire, which means that natural disasters are expected to be a normal part of living in Indonesia. Now, relocation does not look at that. Relocation does not think about the naturality of the disasters in Indonesia. Instead, it looks only at putting people into safer areas, which is fine. But when you want to tackle the root of the problem, why these areas have so much disasters going on, disaster mitigation actually looks at that. Disaster mitigation actually knows Indonesia is situated in the ring of fire and how it affects the people and how the government can take more steps into preventing future disasters. So, if you want the people there to live safely, disaster mitigation will bring more benefit than simply relocating. The second argument that I would like to bring is that relocation shakes up everyone. It will shake up the government because suddenly huge amounts of money are being poured into some parts of the country rather than having a stable budget. The second people that will be shaken is the people who live there. The people who live there are suddenly thrown away into a strange new land, absolutely not knowing anything that happens. The third is the locals from the new safe spaces. There will be mass overpopulation, which is not a good sign of stability, not a good sign for any country. The third argument that I would like to bring is that disaster mitigation will create more jobs. It will create and will eventually lead the disaster-prone areas, to be more independent in responding to local natural disasters. Disaster mitigation have so many positive second and third order consequences that will be beneficial to the area, to the locals, unlike relocation, which does not add upon an area's value or anything. It only moves it away to some other place. The fourth argument that I would like to bring is that disaster mitigation will be the less costly choice for everyone. Disaster mitigation is simple. You build things, you um, watch things, and and because of that, it is and also because it is a long-term project, not a massive infrastructure project. It will lead to lower costs. Unlike uh, unlike relocation, which will deal with far more money than the government can bring. Judges, I would like to bring forth an analogy of this exact problem. Imagine you are bringing a cake to a mountain hike. You're hiking a mountain and you're bringing a cake. Now, relocation will mean that the cake will not be available. The cake will rot easily because you are not there to protect it. You are not there to mitigate the disasters, bringing the cake to the mountain. The mountain here signifies that Indonesia lives in the ring of fire, and therefore natural disasters are expected to come. The cake is the land, is the disaster-prone areas that could bring value to the people, to the government, but because the government does not try to mitigate the disaster, the cake rots. And therefore, when, let's say, 6 people have 6 slices of cake, but instead only 4 slices of cake are available to those 6 people, the people will run out of cake, and everything crumbles. However, disaster mitigation involves actually looking after the cake, looking at the cake, watching it, and therefore instilling the value that is in the cake. So, judges, we need to start investing more on our land. We need to start watching it. We need to start caring it more, rather than just letting the citizens there relocate somewhere else. So, prioritizing relocation over disaster mitigation lets the prioritizing relocation over disaster mitigation lets the land become a liability for the state instead of it producing value for everyone. And so that is why we, the proposition, propose. Thank you.